Everybody, we're here for our budget meeting with the research department. We have Janet Burke here, and I'm just going to turn it right over to you. I'm joined by Councilor Manto and Councilor Schultz.
Terrific, thank you. It's nice to see you all. Research Bureau is a bureau that houses census information, does projects for the mayor's office, works with outside agencies, and has primarily become the grant writing / management department for the city. We used to be primarily writing, and now it's probably 50-50 that we do the writing and the management. We currently have a staff of, I have one grants procurement specialist. I have one administrative assistant who does a lot of the administrative grant work. We have a clerk, too, who is primarily in charge of all of our records management, because we are also the records management arm of the city. And then I have two people that work directly on projects. One is the ARPA coordinator, and one is the project manager for our CDC grant, our COVID CARES grant.
Okay, do you want to, and so you have, I noticed that here that they're changing the grade, so you'll go up and the other one is eliminated, correct? The 19E?
Yes.
The research, okay.
Yes.
And so I think maybe these grants, this handout you gave us, how many currently active grants are?
They're all currently active.
So now, when you not only pursue some
all of those
grants,
we have written and are managing.
Okay, so all these right here.
Yes.
How many we got here?
I don't know the number, but the total is close to $12 million.
Okay, $12 million. Okay. I think some of the questions we had earlier, it's on the where you fit in as far as the confusing context regarding the grants that other departments write. Because you're the professional. You're the one. Do you have to pass on all those?
No, not certainly not on all of them. But if you'll see in my budget, we have put in our budget a deputy director for next year, and the goal for that is to have a deputy director that takes over the day-to-day management of the department, works with the people to get the reporting done. That's the reporting. People think we just get this money and life is grand, but the reporting is really a big deal. We need to stay current. We need to be able following all the requirements, which change monthly. So I need someone to be able to run the department, handle any sort of personnel issues that come up, so that I personally can turn my attention back to doing what I'm supposed to be doing, which is working with other departments, making collaborations, finding the bigger picture grants, because there's so much money out there right now with transportation money and infrastructure money, so that's I can concentrate more on that, which is how I had started in this position.
Yeah, I think just my experience with the Parks Department, oftentimes we'd get grants and then we wouldn't have the personnel that actually facilitate.
Correct.
Even put in the mainstream in order to build what was needed to be built for like a lot of the capital stuff.
Right.
So
right.
Does your department monitor if the grant doesn't originate in your department, say it originates in police, do you monitor the grant if a police get a grant?
We monitor all the police. Well, I shouldn't say that. The vast majority of the police grants and the vast majority of the fire grants. There are a couple of grants that the police department does as part of another grant with another agency, the DA's office or the sheriff's department, that they monitor their portion, their part, but the rest of them we write, we manage, and we write with the subject matter experts in the department.
Okay, because all these entities that that have money that we ask for grants from, my main worry would be that if all our departments are writing the grants, that we might be actually going in for the same pot of money.
Right. So, it's interesting that you say that, because that certainly is a concern. We have not yet run into that problem. And I anticipated we would at some point, mostly because every administration has tried to make research the grants department.
Exactly.
It's centralize everything, have your finger on the pulse of everything. It hasn't worked very well. I think some people, not that people don't want to do it, but I think what happens is people know of grants, they wait too late, they write it, they don't tell us, they tell the council, but they don't necessarily tell research, and unless we see it in the council agenda, then we'll know. However, this administration, we are currently working with the county. PeopleSoft has a component that is a grants management software that the county has been using for various reasons. We are meeting with them on Thursday. We were supposed to meet with them last week to go over and see how they use it, see how we could use it. But we're meeting with them on Thursday to try and get, right now we're on spreadsheets. And if we have to stay on spreadsheets, that's okay. That works, but we really should get something that we're able to run reports off of quickly, that we're able to sort by department, sort by funder. There's a lot that can be done.
So with that software, you would manage all of the grants for
that is the goal.
Even if it's a grant that you don't monitor.
That is the goal. Yes.
One more question about the monitoring of the grants. You mentioned that there's content experts, obviously, so you're not an SPD necessarily, guru, that's not your profession, but you reach out to them to say, you write the summary, you write the content, we'll put it all together.
Yeah.
So having said that, that's where you would always go to them and say, hey, we're going to write a grant to this. They may have already written it, but they'll say, oh no, we're good, we've written it, right? So that's why you don't have the overlap or the competing for the same grant?
Well, by the overlap, what I understood, and maybe I understood it incorrectly, is for some reason water and DPW would be going after the same money. Is that, maybe I misunderstood
there's
that.
literally things that, like for infrastructure, for instance.
Of course.
All of a sudden the water department's writing a grant and DPW is writing a grant and maybe even the police department's writing a grant for the same pot of money sometimes.
Right, and one of the reasons that centralizing this, for example, there are a lot of DPW grants. There aren't many grants that go out of DPW over the years. And FORDOC has a background in that, is very savvy about that type of thing. But if we can centralize and free up some time in my department and perhaps grow the staff by a little bit as the years go on, we can have someone write the DPW grants. We can have, and Beth Smith in water, they're great at their grants, and she's the subject matter expert. So they're really, for them in particular, except for DASNY grants, which we help them with, they usually handle their own. And with the police department, we'll sit down with the bomb squad, for example, and have an application and go through everything that needs to be done. And literally go question by question, and I'll go, yeah,
sit down
we
with the
can.
bomb squad to write a grant.
Oh, yeah, I am a. Yeah, that's right. We have this. We've taken care of this. I know this answer. We tried. I mean, no one becomes a police officer to write grants. But they have to give us the information, and they're very good at it.
See, I think we're looking for some hint of a strategy of like the city having a strategy on what grants to go after. And maybe the idea would they'd all flow through you, so you would make the check off to make sure that they are prepared properly.
Yeah,
and they're going for the city. So we're not always, maybe, I'm foreseeing this has a problem, like going after an infrastructure grant, one department just out there by themselves writing grants. Because frankly, when I was with the Parks Department, we lost a lot of the money.
Because the projects weren't able to.
We didn't take care of the project, right? We didn't have the staff. So, but we got the grant.
Right. And then,
nobody at City Hall said, hey, maybe you should have some staff.
Right.
Going to do this thing.
Right. And I think as the years have gone on, we've not me in particular, but we've learned our lesson. We've learned the lesson that we can't just get these grants without any capacity to have the project be done. You know, we just can't. I mean, and so that's why it's critical to have someone on the staff, or 2 or 3 people on the staff, that are on top of the departments saying, don't forget, this is what we have to get done in order to fill this objective. Don't forget, did you do that survey? Because this has to be done. So that we are there working with the department, making sure that the requirements that we know need to be done, that they don't necessarily know, are able to get done.
So how many positions do you have that are people that are independent enough where you can just set them free to write a grant and they just go about it and do it?
Right now, I have no one. Right now, I have one grants procurement specialist, but he's only been around for a few months. He's great. He's going to be great.
Let me rewind for a second. So then if someone tasks your department with writing a grant, that's doing it?
Yeah.
Only you?
Yeah, I mean, the people will help me with forms and help me. I'll say, you take this section and then I'll edit it. But yeah, I mean, and that's how they learn. That's how,
You have somebody that you contract out to, a consultant?
we do have a consultant that helps us when she's able to. We have a little bit of money, I think it's $12,000, and she sometimes helps us with the reporting so we don't get behind, or with some information for grants. She does primarily fire. So, but yes, we use Sarah a little bit, yeah.
It seems like such a low capacity. Just
It
having
is.
you, the person that's writing, I mean, it just seems crazy to me, for lack of a better word.
I have to be honest with you, it's a lot bigger now than it was before.
Well, how much are we leaving on the table is really the big question, right? The philanthropic money alone that is out there for municipalities of this size, I'm baffled that we're not chasing every single dollar. We're not in a position to leave anything on the table.
No, I 100% agree with
What do
you.
you need to make it so you're not the only person sitting behind that computer filling up those applications? Like,
I
is
need-
it a deputy, or is it?
Well, and I did want to say, the deputy will be a writer. That will be a very big part of the job description. I need someone to be able to write grants and be able to do this, to supervise the staff.
Are we salary competitive enough to get an experienced grant writer in that position? Or is that an
I think,
move?
I don't know that it would be an internal move. No, I don't have anyone in mind. I hope that we're competitive. I guess it remains to be seen. I've never looked for a deputy before.
Where is the deputy listed? I don't see it.
It's a new position for this coming.
Sarah?
There's new in Sura, but it says that there's somebody in the position, project manager?
I have 2 project managers, one for the CDC. This is what came with my budget.
Okay, so
Those are for next year.
62, I don't see.
We're removing a management analyst for next year and replacing it with a deputy director.
I still don't see that either, that line, deputy director, like where is it in the personal services?
You said you were going to abolish it next fiscal year, so you asked me to just leave it at the management analyst for now.
Right.
July 1st.
Oh, okay. Okay, the management analyst will be gone,
Will be
and it will be back to the,
24, 25 though, not this year.
yes,
24.
correct, 24, 25.
All right, so
Right,
that's
yeah, it won't be this year, right.
One more question about the count.
Is that Mary?
Pardon?
Your 1 year ad is 23, 24, that's July 1.
23, 24, oh, right, July 1, sorry.
But shouldn't that be on here then? That's what we're approving, right? That's what,
So
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Poor Victor.
Hi, counselors. Victor Neighbor, Budget Office. So when I was just speaking with Janet about this, Janet just indicated to me to, for now, leave the management analyst as is, and then come next fiscal year, we would change it over to the deputy director.
I'm sure that's what I told you.
what's the
yes.
timeline of the next fiscal year, so I get the numbers right?
July 1.
what you're approving now
It's next year.
is either one and create a new one.
We can change that. I
Yeah,
just
we absolutely
I
can. Yeah,
spoke
I
with
probably misunderstood what the ramifications of that were. Yeah, I'm sure that was me.
I just want to make sure you get your deputy
Right.
director, because
So
the money's there.
This plan here,
It's just the
the title change.
yeah.
Correct.
That's
yes.
Okay.
Can adjust that.
Management analyst will be 0, and then deputy director will be 1.
Correct.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Just trying to understand.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. One other question about the Thursday meeting with the county, that grant system that you're talking
Yes.
about. Is that something that you have budgeted in here? There's obviously a cost with it, right?
You know, that's, the administration is looking at that. That is not in my, in Greg Lowe, we have people from the administration meeting with us also to talk to the county.
Do we own that piece of the software? Or
We have PeopleSoft, and it is a component, and I think there is some money that will have to be expended, but I think we're trying to decide whether or not that's a good investment.
So if we could just go back, what are we doing as far as changing? Are we changing anything that's in here?
The money's there for the management analyst, we're just gonna change it to deputy director.
Okay,
Janet
oh, just the title.
Yes.
keep
Yep.
it, But we're gonna just switch it, no problem.
Okay, oh, good, okay, I see it now. Okay, so,
I also do have one other position, a part-time position that I'm asking for next year, who is, and I'm not certain we're going to be able to find this very special person, but it's a part-time archivist. We have records around this building, in this basement, in City Hall Commons, and all over the place. And a lot of them are probably very important and historical that departments have stored downstairs. Just, oh, you know, Jim, go take these downstairs and put them in the basement. We need someone to come in and go through all of those records and work with the OHA and be able to sit in the OHA will say, oh yeah, great, we'll take those, or those aren't worth anything, or, you know, we can get rid of those. We have 100 copies of that. Let's get rid of it. But I'm afraid to do it myself because I'm afraid I will get rid of something that will be important.
Have you talked with OHA about it?
I have.
Specifically with coming up with a plan?
I have. Yep. We've talked a couple of times about it. Yep. So,
what are we going to pay that person? Whatever it is, it's not enough.
right. It's a part-time position and it's in at $44,000.
Okay.
So, when we look to put a grant writer in a place to help you, is that training outside training or just inside institutional knowledge training? Because I get concerned that we just use institutional knowledge training because times have changed with writing grants, right?
That is-
20 years ago, it's not the same ballgame.
100%. Yep.
So is there enough money in here for training for you to send that new person somewhere to, or whether it's modules, in person, there's a lot of resources out there. I'm afraid we don't-
Absolutely. Now, Jim, who's the recent hire in my office, has attended this Grant USA, the gold standard for training. He has already attended that. Sometimes it takes us a few months until a class is given in order to be able to fit someone in. But yes, no, we do absolutely do outside training. We have training modules and we have outside training that we send them to. And we don't put a ton in training, but we have always been able to, find extra money in my budget and, move it a couple of $1,000s for training.
See, I think both Councilor Monto and Councilor Schultz brought it. I mean, this is obviously a very important department. Years ago, it was the Office of Federal and State Aid, and it garnered monies that built infrastructure all over the city, the skating rinks and all that. But over the years, it seems like it's sort of dwindled a little bit. Now you're the only grant writer, so.
It was big. It was big a while ago. It's true.
One of the departments where we can actually garner revenue, so.
Sure.
And I still am a little confused about the strategic way we go about things here, is how we determine what grants are written, but
So
maybe I'll leave that to
I think when you said that every administration has tried to centralize grants, the reason they're probably trying to do that is because it makes great sense.
Of
right?
course.
It makes great sense that we have one button that we press and it says, here's everything we've applied for, here's everything we got, didn't get,
Right.
why we didn't get it, what are we doing right, what are we doing wrong. I don't see how we get there in Excel spreadsheets.
Right.
in
It's hard.
2003, right?
Yeah. And I will tell you that there are very few grants that are applied for or go through this building that I don't know about. Everyone CCs me, and then if it's something that we have capacity to do, I'm in the meetings. Even if we're not going to write it, people include me in on the meeting. So I have a good idea I personally have a good idea of what's going on.
Well, you ever been in a situation where they tell DPW you can't write that grant because the water department's writing the
Never.
grant for the same place?
That's what I had said.
happened?
That has not happened yet. And I'm surprised. I thought over the years that probably would, but it has not happened yet. The only thing that we've had is we've had a few departments all want to apply for a records management grant, which is given once a year that we can write for one department, and then we have to make the decision what the priority is for that grant. You know, that's really the only thing that we've ever had that's really been, you know.
Maybe you should have a records management grant for downstairs then.
Well, that's exactly what we're doing.
Because I'll tell you, that's going to be something
I just don't
really
know if there's
interesting.
enough emphasis on how important that department is.
I agree.
We're looking at a structural deficit, state aid that sits stagnant, and expenses that keep going up. We got to get the money somewhere.
I agree.
I mean, this is a lot to keep track of right here at active grants, and so maybe we'll meet with the rest of the finance committee and make a recommendation to the administration on your department.
Okay.
You know.
Have you ever thought that it would be good to have the research and archival part of it separate from your office?
Absolutely.
Grant office.
Well, I think the research and the grant officer kind of go hand in hand. The archival is certainly separate. Since I have Teresa Monet-Sacco, who's in my office, on the staff, this is her thing. You know, she's really good at it, and we have a great handle on it. I have not had, to answer your question, no, I have not had that.
You're the person who's the expert in writing grants. The last thing I think I would want you worried about is what's in the basement that has to be moved in boxes.
I suppose that's true. Right. And right now we're thinking a lot about that because we're moving from City Hall Commons over to One Park Place. We have 5,000 boxes in the basement of City Hall Commons.
I didn't mean to diminish the
Oh no, I know you
boxes in the
didn't.
basement.
No, I know you didn't. But right now that's kind of more forefront in our minds than it sometimes can be.
So this part-time archivist that you want to add, is that in here now?
That's here.
So does that ever?
Again, 7-1. I guess again, I told Victor the wrong thing, I imagine.
So that needs to be added, and the deputy director needs to be added.
And the management analyst goes. Right.
Back up, Victor. I'm confused even
Yes.
more.
Yeah, so
Wait 1 second. Sure. The management analyst, is the grade changing and the title is changing, but the money stays the same?
I got it right.
the management analyst's money is there, so it's the amount would stay the same, the title and grade would just change, yes.
Okay. And then we're adding a part-time.
Archivist.
So with regards to the part-time archivist, all new city positions were denied by the administration, so
Oh, okay.
initially. So after we had spoken, the vast
Okay.
swath of them were told.
Okay, so there will be no part-time archivist.
Correct.
Got it.
Unless
Okay.
the
I'm
council,
sorry.
Unless the council-
unless the
unless the-
council decides to amend the budget.
Okay.
Correct, that's
Sorry.
what you can add, yes.
So let me
Great,
ask
thank
this
you.
loaded question. So if you got a part-time archivist, would that free somebody else up to chase money?
No.
Okay.
No. It would ensure that we're doing what we need to do with the records that we have here in City Hall.
Right now,
Yeah.
no one's really doing it, except the Teresa person who said
Correct.
is.
And Teresa, it doesn't know what's historical or what's important. I mean, she just keeps it rolling. You know, people get what they need if they need records out of the boxes, and she keeps the inventory. And so no, to answer your question, no.
Sometimes put in a human perspective, somebody who retires and worked for the city parks department back in the 1960s or 70s, you have to literally go down there and find the work records in order because the state will, the state retirement system will ask the city to see if that person worked in 1968.
Yep, sure,
So it affects people in
it does.
not knowing where the records are kept.
Yeah. We have a very good handle on that.
So.
But there are services out there that you can literally send those 500 boxes, and they can scan them all.
But
and then
that's so
digitize.
expensive. We've just worked on a
Grant for that somewhere.
I was just going to say, we just worked on a project for marriage licenses with the city clerk's office. And, we just sent off boxes. They were indexed, they were scanned, they came back. We had a $75,000 grant, and, that's how much they offered. And that's what we try to do every year. It's just those little bits at a time. It's all that's offered at this point, at least by the state. So federal, we do have some federal stuff that pops up every once in a while, but that is mostly for the historical information. And what we're talking about with the marriage licenses, it is historical, but they still use them. So they have to be available. You know, they have to.
To your point, employee records.
Yeah, so, are there any other questions from my other two members of this August body? Okay. Well, Jan, thank you very much.
Thank you. It was nice to see everybody. Thank you so much.
Always doing your job with a smile.
Thanks.